Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the fascinating biological, neurological, and honestly evolutionary mechanics behind why music hits some of us so incredibly deeply. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed, like just completely transported by a piece of music, you're absolutely not alone. But the crazy reality is that your brain might actually be wired quite differently than the person sitting right next to you. So let's explore exactly why that is. Okay, let's dive right into this by picturing a very specific moment. It's that moment your favorite chorus drops. You know the exact second I'm talking about. You're waiting for it. The beat kicks in, the singer hits that impossible soaring high note, and suddenly a shiver runs straight down your spine. Maybe you get sudden goosebumps on your arms, or that tight, unmistakable lump in your throat. In that fleeting second, it feels like the music isn't just something you're hearing, right? It's something that is physically touching you. Well, here's the wild part about all of that. The crucial point here is that only about 50% of the population actually experiences those shivers, goosebumps, or lumps in their throat when they listen to music. Just think about how bizarre that contrast really is. You could literally have two people sitting in the exact same room, listening to the exact same audio waves from this breathtaking symphony or, I don't know, an epic guitar solo. One person is having a totally transcendent physical reaction, while the other person might just be tapping their foot, thinking, oh, this sounds nice, and not experiencing any physical reaction whatsoever. Now, this phenomenon actually has an official scientific name, frisson. It's a French word that translates to aesthetic chills, and it's an entirely involuntary physiological response to an aesthetic experience. You can't force it to happen, and you really can't stop it when it does. But why exactly does our body react to beautiful sounds with a physical shiver? To figure that out, we have to rewind and look way back at our ancient ancestors. As neuroscientist Professor William Griffith points out, your body is literally reacting to a passionate song with the exact same adrenaline rush it uses to survive a threat. Millions of years ago, a sudden, massive rush of adrenaline caused our ancestors' body hair to stand on end. This was a supercritical survival tool designed to make us look bigger to approaching predators, or just to quickly trap a layer of heat to keep us warm during a sudden freeze. Today, a dramatic, unexpected shift in a song's harmony triggers that exact same ancient survival mechanism. It's like a beautiful melody is essentially hijacking our primal fight-or-flight response to produce this moment of pure aesthetic awe. So how is this ancient survival mechanism actually built into the physical structure of your modern mind? Well, researchers at Doshisha University and the University of Southern California decided they didn't just want to know why this happens, they wanted to know who it happens to. To find out, they put this mystery inside an MRI scanner. They took a group of participants who regularly experience frisson and another group who don't, and they looked deep into the architecture of their brains to see what was actually going on under the hood. The structural MRI data from the Doshisha study reveals something pretty incredible. It turns out that sensitivity to these musical chills is directly associated with gray matter volume in very specific reward circuits of the brain. We're talking about increased volume in areas like the right caudate and the left insula. And these aren't just random spots. These are the critical deep brain hubs responsible for processing intense emotions and feeling rewards. So the physical structural capacity for feeling is fundamentally larger in certain individuals. So when we compare individuals who experience frisson, what we can call the chill brain, against those who don't, the chill brain actually features a much denser volume of fibers connecting the auditory processing centers to the emotional processing centers. The researchers at USC mapped this out, and the biological differences are absolutely striking. If you get these chills, you literally have more neurological wiring connecting your ears to your feelings. Your brain is physically constructed to connect sound directly to emotion. You can really just think of these denser brain fibers as an emotional superhighway. Because there are simply more fibers, they allow those two regions of your brain to communicate much more efficiently. It's exactly like upgrading your brain's internal internet connection from a clunky, slow dial-up modem to a lightning-fast fiber optic cable. Sound isn't just passively processed as background noise. It is instantly, forcefully translated into deep emotional resonance. And the sheer speed of that transmission is exactly what makes the physical reaction feel so sudden and so overwhelming. Let's track this step by step so we can visualize what's happening inside your head when that favorite track comes on. Step 1. The sound waves hit your ear and the auditory cortex processes the sound. Step 2. That auditory data rockets down that superhighway of dense fibers we just talked about. Step 3. It slams into the emotional centers and triggers a massive instantaneous release of dopamine in your mesolimbic reward system. This is the exact same foundational chemical reward loop that makes eating incredibly delicious food or the rush of falling in love feel so amazingly good. Basically, your brain is highly rewarding you just for listening. But wait, this leads us to the sad music paradox. This is a question that has baffled philosophers and scientists forever. If dopamine is the ultimate pleasure and reward chemical, why do melancholic, heartbreaking songs often trigger the most intense chills? I mean, we tend to avoid sadness in our real lives, right? So shouldn't happy, upbeat, high-energy music give us the biggest dopamine hit? Why on earth do we actively seek out music that makes us cry? To solve this paradox, researchers at Northumbria University needed a way to measure dopamine in real time while people listen to different types of music. But constantly putting people in brain scanners is, well, it's invasive, expensive, and just totally unnatural. So they used a fascinating, non-invasive proxy: spontaneous eye blink rates. It turns out elevated dopamine levels in the brain actually trigger activity in your blink generator circuit. So your blink rate acts as a literal speedometer to measure dopamine activity without a single needle or scanner. The more dopamine flowing through your system, the more you blink. It is just a brilliant way to measure joy. Now, when researchers mapped these blink responses out using Vivaldi's Four Seasons, a massive unexpected spike occurred. They played uplifting major mode concertos like the bright and energetic Spring right alongside melancholic minor mode pieces like the dark, stormy Winter. And guess what? The dramatic, sorrowful minor mode of Winter caused the highest blink rate by a huge margin. This clearly shows that the absolute largest dopamine spike wasn't coming from the happy, bouncy music, but from the sad, dramatic, and emotionally complex music. This data reveals a seriously profound psychological concept. Happy music tends to focus our attention outward. It's a diversion. We dance, we engage with the external world, we celebrate with friends. But sad music, it shifts our brain entirely into internal processing. It sparks intense mind wandering, deep empathy, and a profound sense of emotional catharsis. Our brain highly rewards this safe space for introspection. You get that massive dopamine rush because your brain is rewarding you for deeply processing complex human emotions and exploring the depths of sadness without actually being in any real-world danger. So, if your brain is built with this dense, emotional superhighway, and you regularly experience this dopamine-driven catharsis when listening to a beautifully sad melody, what does that actually mean for your underlying personality? Does this biological difference extend beyond your music playlist? Are Frisson experiencers fundamentally different from everyone else once they take off their headphones and go about their day? Well, the research points to a resounding yes. Studies suggest that the 50% of the population experiencing Frisson actually share some highly distinct personality traits. If you get the chills, you are statistically much more likely to be unusually open to new experiences. That means you probably crave variety, you're open to challenging your own beliefs, and you find deep value in art, nature, and complex ideas. You're also highly creative and intensely intellectually curious. That denser wiring in your brain means you don't just feel music more deeply, you likely feel all aesthetic and emotional experiences more intensely. It proves that this appreciation of beauty isn't just a quirky biological reflex. It's a profound human superpower. I really hope this explainer changes how you listen to your favorite playlist and leaves you wondering just how deep your own sensory superpower goes. The next time you put on your headphones and feel that familiar, thrilling shiver run down your spine, just smile. Take a moment to appreciate that your brain's emotional superhighway is firing on all cylinders, releasing dopamine, and proving that you are, quite literally, wired for wonder. Thanks so much for joining me today. Wow, we're already at the end of the video. Come on, watch other fun videos too, and don't forget to click subscribe to the BrainBubble channel.